Welcome, folks. How we doing today?
Hello.
Hey.
It's about that time.
Hey, it's about that time.
It's that Northside Plug vibe.
Yes.
Northside Plug vibe.
Northside Plug.
7
How we
to
doing today,
9.
boys? We got this nice little angle going on with G Money. Straight up right now, I got my A7 III giving us an
A7 III.
extra angle. We got all the angles today. We got the Justino cam, we got the Dan cam, and then of course the G Money cam. Bang 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 bang.
We in it.
Coming at you
courtesy
from
of
all
Justino.
angles today, ladies and gentlemen. All the
Yeah.
angles.
Feeling
Courtesy.
fancy today.
All the angles. We're
so-
getting tricky with it.
We got some
Good things to talk about for once. Some happy things.
Good
Yeah.
things and happy things.
Yeah, we apologize for missing last week, but we got plenty to make up for it. Of course, we're gonna have a deep dive into basketball. Of course,
Thank God.
the
I mean, some ups and downs. Like it's been dramatic, but it's the drama that I've needed
in
my life
the
personally.
shortest off season in NBA history, in
that's
professional sports
also
history.
needed, man.
Really? Wow. That's dope.
Well, at least for the four major sports in the United States. They've definitely been keeping busy. All the teams have been keeping busy, and yesterday was the draft, so we'll talk about what we saw from there, and
Right.
of course what the Bulls and the Celtics did.
That balls.
Yeah, so we'll get into all that, but make sure if you're not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Please like and subscribe and swipe up. Which one are we on?
Swipe it.
Swipe up.
Swipe it up.
You can't. I don't know if you can't swipe up on YouTube, but that's okay.
G Money Cam.
G-Money cam.
I'll just yell out the cam.
Yeah.
that we
Swipe
need
up.
to go
Swipe
towards.
it.
Swipe up. Swipe up.
Justino Cam.
Justino cam. Swipe up. Swipe up.
Swipe up.
Swipe up. Swipe up.
Back to Dan Cam.
Well, anyway, swipe up. I don't know if you can swipe up on YouTube, but please swipe up anyway.
We're seeing swiping. We're seeing swiping.
So make sure you follow us. Make sure you follow Q4 Radio. They got a show going on in the big studio next door. Appreciate them and are excited for what they've got cooking up with their live broadcast now. Almost like we're doing a much smaller scale than what John and the crew have been doing in that big room, but props to them for getting the music out there. We always appreciate them for having us here during these unforeseen times.
Right.
As Lori Lightfoot made a advisory that you shouldn't leave your house unless it's for an emergency, or it's essential. But I'd say Northside Plug is essential. In my
Super
opinion.
essential.
I say it's essential for the people. So make sure you follow Q4 and Northside Plugged on all your favorite social medias. AM 1680 if you got that old dial. And if you want to call and have any questions for the boys today,
Boys.
Bring it.
yeah, make sure to call us in at 312-985-7834. Again, that's 312-985-7834. So before we get into the basketball, we'll take a quick kind of follow up to our last show.
Truth.
2 weeks ago was election week, and we didn't have an official winner in the presidential election at that point. We were waiting for states like Georgia and Pennsylvania and Arizona to finish casting their ballots. And then on Saturday morning, it was, I think, Biden won Pennsylvania, I believe. Pennsylvania or
Pennsylvania.
One of those to officially give him the projected winner of the 2020 presidential election. And as we were seeing on Twitter and we were calling it out, we were talking about it 2 weeks ago on Thursday, Trump is just calling, his Twitter has been on fire the past 2 weeks. It's been unbelievable just watching him say blasphemous statements, and shouts out to Twitter for making the new notification. I don't know if you saw this, G, where it's like he'll tweet something out, or like anyone will tweet and it has an exclamation point, and it's like this tends to have false claims.
False.
Like half of his tweets in the past 3, if not more, have had that. And then so people with Twitter have been running with that and then making their own jokes about like the exclamation point, like this claim and whatever. So that's been funny, but it's been crazy. It's just like a sore loser party at this point. I was reading a little bit about it today. I don't want to get too into it because we talked enough about it 2 weeks ago, but he's been going to like Georgia and Pennsylvania and Michigan, and Wisconsin, like doing lawsuits against the state and the federal people there about miscounted votes or anything like that. But a lot of the websites I was reading pretty much said the same thing. Like these lawsuits have no chance of changing the outcome. Like most of the cases are unsuccessful. I think he's only been successful like 1 or 2 times, but it's like the amount of votes that he's questioning is such a small number that it's not going to affect. It's not going to overturn anything.
Yeah.
So my man's trying to like make something out of nothing, and it's just funny for him. It's just like he's the kid who he's been winning at the basketball court, like he's having a good day, like he won 2016, he's been playing well. Then you have Joe Biden come back, beat him at his own game, and then he takes his ball and says, "I'm leaving." Trump's just been a sore loser. He's like, I lost, I'm taking my ball, I'm going home, see you later. Like he's one of those kids. That's how it feels. And the worst part about this is that the worst part about him being a sore loser and everything is that we're still in the middle of this pandemic, and I don't think he or any of his staff realize that the transition of power needs to be done smoothly in a time where millions of people are still dying from this disease. And apparently his staff has just been very like non-cooperative with the Biden staff about the transition of power, because no one wants to go against Trump when Trump's like, this vote doesn't count. I'm still the winner. I'm technically the winner, which is not true at all. He can't accept being a failure, which he is. And he's failed at other things, but he just never wants to accept it. And on a large scale where the whole country has seen him fail, he still doesn't want to accept it, even though he lost by millions of votes.
And that's what's disrespectful, bro. It's like, it's messed up to say, but it's like this was kind of expected, right?
Oh yeah.
This isn't a surprise that Donald Trump isn't officially conceding or hasn't officially conceded. It's just messed up because exactly that. We're in the middle of a global pandemic, and he's not doing nothing. Maybe here and there a little something, if anything, at most. But I mean, that man's out golfing. That man's just putting all of his energy into making sure that he finesses somehow to become the president.
Bro, they got Pence out here doing all the dirty work right now, like answering for all the measures that they got going. We're like, our lead, scientists, working on our reserves and getting all these hospitals all the resources they need. Which is like, dang, that's rather vice presidential of you, Pence. But it's like, dude, you're literally your boss is out golfing, shooting 18 holes right now. Like, it's nuts.
For real. Like, I was on Saturday morning when I got the news that Biden was the projected winner, I was playing golf because I'm not in a position of power. Whereas my man's orange face, a.k.a. Donnie T, a.k.a. Donnie Poopy Pants, he was playing 18 holes too. My man's was playing 18 holes when he figured out he lost the election. That's not what you should be doing. You know what Biden was doing at that point? Going to meetings about the pandemic, about what the next steps are going to be. He was meeting with governors about what the next steps will be.
About that action.
When he comes, he's about that action. He's ready to take action where my man is playing 18 holes. Where the orange face is playing 18 holes at whatever golf course he's at, which continues to add on to the taxpayers' dollars. And I had friends argue with me, how does it cost the taxpayers money when Donald Trump goes to golf? You know, he has to take Secret Service with him everywhere he goes, and those guys are paid by taxpayers'
Payroll,
dollars.
baby.
And that
Big
Air Force
bucks.
One he has to take to wherever he's going to go, that costs taxpayers money as well. The man has cost the taxpayers millions of dollars for all the times he's golfed. And the irony is, in 2016, in like early 2016, when he was talking, he said he would never golf on the job. The man's golfed more than any other president has during his tenure, and it's ridiculous.
That's nuts,
It's
man.
ridiculous. He's such a hypocrite. He's such a
Hypocrisy.
He's such a hypocrite. He's such a narcissist. He's such a
Narcissist.
sore loser.
Loser.
And he's a terrible spray tanner.
Terrible spray tan.
And
I mean,
I can't wait for you to leave in January, my guy.
You can only
El
imagine
pelo de lo
that his
lote.
Secret Service members, they're going into it like you're probably going to catch the COVID, but it just kind of goes with
Whoa.
They're all, let's think, they're all making the bank. And, like, they literally all held out until the very last minute before even, like, you know, the people behind the backs of Trump was, like, sending congratulatory messages to Biden and, like, trying to get the transition going. And, I don't know. I'm not surprised by any of it. I'm glad that we're finally past the big anxiety of, like, what is going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to just kind of, like, move on with the rest of our freaking lives, man. Because it's just been, like, the monkey on our back as a nation for the past 4 years. And, like, I'm just glad that the conversation, I can literally put chill beats to study to on the background instead of, like, I don't know, man, like us, like, really having a completely different narrative at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, it would be a
absolutely.
completely different
Definitely.
narrative.
Yeah, exactly. Now I know I made the comparison that he's the kid who was the basketball court, but he's also the kid who's on the swings for too long. And his mom's like, Donnie, it's time to get off the swings. It's Joey's turn to be on the swings. And he's like, no, the way I see it, I have this swing. I've had this swing for enough time. It's rigged. Joey can't have this swing. It's a rigged election. It's a rigged, Mom. It's just rigged. I belong on this swing. Okay, this is my swing. And I think I don't know, but like it's just ridiculous. That's all I gotta say about this, man. I think we've talked enough politics. You guys, any more politics? Anything to get out?
I think Boss Dan the Man hit it on the nail for sure.
Right on the noggin, Dan the man.
As my good friend YG once said, FDT. Look up that song. I played that song on that Saturday. I swear to God, I played that song like every 15 minutes on the hour. Like I played that song. I was blasting on my back porch. I hope the kids across the alleyway heard that song.
Gee, I was with Sammy Whammy. Shout out Sammy Whammy.
Sammy.
We were driving through downtown
Oh yeah.
during that time. Yeah, playing the same song.
Hell yeah. That was such a good vibe, and I just felt like a huge weight, like you were saying, just like
Oh, yeah.
just a huge weight came off my shoulders, like everyone's shoulder. There was such a feeling of relief that we're gonna have a competent adult. Now, sure, he is 79 or whatever he is, and very old, but it's better than what we had. Like,
Hopefully.
settle for Biden, as a lot of people
Last
said.
night though, man, like that was the first time I was excited, like looking forward to something in a minute, and it was the first like major event past all that had happened that I don't know, it truly allowed me to allow my mind to kind of divulge into something else, like to just kind of like allow it to. I made a point to not really get into any of the speculation about what's gonna happen before or even really during the draft, but like now that all that's done, like we're on to like major trade talks here, man, before the actual start of the season comes up, and like some things that I was surprised to see, some things that were really unfortunate to see. You know, we're gonna talk about Clay and that whole situation. Man, that was such a bummer, y'all. For real, like
Sorry, one last point. I wanted to talk politics real quick. Just real quick, if you haven't, go to Michelle Obama's last post and read it. And she just puts it very well on like what I talked about the transition of power, and just not and realizing that it's bigger than just the Trump campaign. It's the position of president. It's the executive position in one of the biggest countries in the world. Like one of the biggest economies in the world. Like it's so much bigger than him, and he doesn't realize that. And I think that's like she made that clear. So like it like puts it in perspective, and you're just like, go off, Queen, and that's all I got. That's it. That's my last political point. But Justin, let's please talk basketball. That's enough politics. That's enough politics for one show. We did that enough last week.
You want to do the official announcement for like what happened and what's kind of behind that with the whole Klay Thompson thing. Like, 'cause
Alright,
I know
yeah,
I know we're always huge Dub fans.
Yeah,
here.
so we're officially in the NBA offseason.
Woo!
The NBA and the Players Association, I believe, have officially agreed to start the season on December 22nd,
Okay.
which is about 4 weeks from now, some-ish. So, like, right before Christmas starts, that's when the first games will be played.
Yeah.
So
Thank
this is
God.
officially the shortest offseason in NBA history, which is tough for the players who played far through the finals. Those guys who just got drafted last night won't have an ability to go to G League or do anything like that. So it's a very unique offseason for a lot of these people. But the teams have been busy. I'll review some of the points that I took this morning when I wanted to say. CP3, Chris Paul got traded to the Suns, and the Thunder continued to pile up more draft picks.
True.
More and more draft picks by the Thunder in the first round. I think like from this year to like 2026, they have like 16 or something ridiculous like that. Some ridiculous amount of picks, which is ridiculous. But CP3 going to the Suns, I really like that.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
really like that. Really like that one.
Suns are back, baby.
Yeah, I'll just go through them real quick and then we'll discuss them as a whole. Drew Holiday going from the Pelicans to the Bucks.
You knew he needed to go somewhere. It's those guys that it's a what is it? It's a buyer's market right or a seller's market right now.
Well, for the Bucks, I think it's more of a buyer's market because you want to entice Giannis to sign a long-term extension.
You can get a lot for like.
You can get a lot for him. So like for the Pelicans to sell him and get whatever they got? How many? I don't know how many players on. Let me look at what it was again. Pelicans acquire Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, the 24th pick last night, and 2 first-rounders in the future, and our rights to swap picks in 2 other years. So, but I agree with you, Justice, that for a lot of teams like the Pelicans, it's a seller's market where you have this asset like Drew Holiday and you just want to get rid of him, and the Bucks are willing to buy it and pay whatever they need to keep their superstar happy and make him sign long term. So I agree with that. And then the Bucks almost got Bogdanovich.
Almost.
And then he was like, no.
That would have been a killer lineup, man.
They were like, oh, wait, it's happening. And then apparently he was like, whoa, I never agreed to that.
Damn.
Like, because it technically would have to, I think they said it'd have to be like a sign and trade or something like that. And he was like, I don't want to go to Milwaukee. So he's going to be a free agent starting tomorrow. So who knows? Maybe he'll still go to the Bucks. I don't know. But that was just funny for them to be like, oh, he's going there.
Good situation.
No, wait,
for
he's
the
not.
Bucks, though. I mean, think about that. Starting point guard. Who do they have? Who do they have right now? They have starting point guard Drew Holiday. Get out of here. Chris Middleton, Bogdanovich, Giannis, and then Brooke Lopez.
It's a deadly lineup.
Who's the only one who doesn't average over 10 points a game.
And that I feel like with that lineup, I mean, without Bogdan, I feel like now the Bucks are officially like, all right, we're gonna win this year. Like this is our year. We have to win it because or Giannis might not want to come back if you can't win it because like if the guy can't keep winning in a small market, don't say that. If he can't keep winning in a small market like Milwaukee, then there's no point of keeping him. But so yeah, that was another trade. Here was an interesting one that I thought was cool. Dennis Schroeder and Danny Green got flipped. So Schroeder went to LA. Danny Green went to the Thunder. There were some other picks involved. And then the Thunder flipped that around, threw Danny Green to the Sixers, and then the Thunder took on Big Al and some picks.
True.
Shouts out to my boy Big Al.
I'm glad the Sixers got rid of him, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I'm totally with you there. It was time for, I mean, I was surprised the Sixers paid him $25 million a year at 31. Like I thought when the Celtics got rid of him, I was happy. I was like, okay, like we don't have that money on our pay. We can bring in Kemba Walker. Like that's what happened. But the Sixers had to entice it for the Thunder by giving Sam Presti what he loves most, more draft picks. The stockpiling draft picks, my guy, is just stocking them up. So Danny Green went to the Sixers, which I think is huge because they need 3-point shooting. And then they traded for Seth Curry, another 3-point shooter, getting rid of Josh Richardson. But I mean, that's a 3-point shooter for a 3-point shooter.
I'll take Seth Curry for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Josh Richardson had a little bit of defense on him.
It's true. But Danny Green's a good defender too. So like getting that guy in is going to be huge.
So wait, I'm sorry. Danny Green went to who?
So
he ended up where?
first, Danny Green and Dennis Schroeder were traded from like L.A. to Oklahoma City,
Right.
and then the Thunder traded Danny Green to the Sixers for Al Horford and a pick.
Oh, that's
Some
decent.
picks. So my man went from a champion to a lower level playoff team to another playoff team
That's decent.
from the East. My
They
man
needed that.
from the East Coast to the Midwest. He went from the West to the Mid to the East Coast, all within a span of 48 hours. I hope my man didn't get anything in Oklahoma City yet. But
That's decent for the Sixers, bro. That's definitely
yeah,
decent.
man, they're getting scary. And then the one last move I had, like veteran players, Trevor Ariza was just getting thrown around everywhere. My guy was in. My guy was in.
Back to the Rockets for like a couple hours.
And then he got sent to Detroit a couple days, like a day later. But the Ariza was on the Trailblazers, and he was traded for Robert Covington, who I think is going to be huge on the Trailblazers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it was just funny how Trevor Ariza and Danny Green were in that, like, oh, we're sending you to this team. No, you're going to this team now. And kind of how it just kept bouncing back and forth
Yeah.
like that. So that were some of the bigger trades that I saw. But I think Justice said it. Were you? I mean, I think CP3 to the Suns is probably the biggest move.
Oh yeah,
so
no
far.
doubt. So far, 100%. That was crazy. But before the trades, bro, as a Warriors fan, man, I'm so hurt.
Dude, I know.
I'm in pain.
They're good to be
Yeah, it don't mean nothing.
That's not Klay
It don't
Thompson.
mean nothing, bro. We needed Klay Thompson, and he's out the whole season, bro. Like, oh, gee, I'm blown, bro. Like, I'm hurt. This sucks. Like, oh, and I mean, I can't even. Prayers out for that man, bro. Like, I know he's hurt right now. Like, of course, the leg hurts, but mentally, bro, that man is hurt.
Yeah,
And
exactly. That's so tough.
that's gonna be tough to come back from. I think he can, and I think he will, but that's gonna be tough to come back from. You know, so the Warriors got to come up. They just got James Wiseman.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
hopefully,
that was nice.
hopefully Steph Curry stays healthy. We got Andrew Wiggins still. You know, maybe like you said, he got Kelly Oubre, Draymond Green. Maybe finesse a couple other decent
Yeah.
players, whatever. But
The West
that
just keep.
hurts,
It's just
man.
it hurts, and the other teams in the West just keep. A lot of teams in the West keep getting stronger, like
Yeah.
the Suns
Yeah.
or some of these other teams. So
Yeah.
it's really, like that was brutal to hear right before the draft started yesterday. Because like the man was coming off ACL surgery, which is a tough injury to begin with on its own. And then, like, literally hours before the draft, everyone's like, "Oh, Klay Thompson hurt himself practicing in Southern California,"
Dude,
and
it's like John Wall.
everyone thought of the worst, and it appeared to be the worst.
It's
which
like
is
the
Achilles.
worst version of like John Wall's story.
True.
You know what I mean? Like
That was pretty bad, to be honest.
that was
bro.
bad, but like that was like kind of on John Wall a little bit. You know what I mean?
That's
Where
what-
this is just like everybody praying for
Yeah.
everybody praying for Klay. It's like, man, this man could have been doing some stupid stuff in that pickup game. You know what I mean? Like he tore his Achilles, his healthy Achilles, in a practice game before the start of the season after rehabbing his left knee.
It's messed up, man.
Shoot.
I can't hear anymore, G.
Yeah, it's just tough for a guy like that who
Yeah.
is one of the most efficient, prolific scorers that we've seen in the NBA, especially from 3-point range. Like my man's been one of the best scorers this league's seen ever. By the way, he can just not even dribble and score points. So it's tough as a basketball fan. Not just Warriors fans, as basketball fans, he's one of the most entertaining people to watch.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he gets the ball in his hands, he can hit it. No matter where he is on the floor, he's one of those guys that anywhere he gets the ball, he can shoot.
Yep.
And it's just tough as basketball fans to miss a guy like that for 2 straight seasons, especially when Steph was coming back and Wiseman's coming in and the Warriors were looking up.
Yeah.
It's a really tough break for the Warriors, but I have no doubt that Klay Thompson will come back
100%.
and because
He
he's
eats
already
nails,
went through
man.
one rehab with his left leg, and might as well do the other leg. Or I don't know if it's the same leg or if it's different legs. Either way, prayers are with that man as always. with all the injured players, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, CP3, I think it's exciting to see the Suns back.
I'm happy to see Ricky
Um,
Rubio
true.
reunited with the Timbs, man.
That's interesting for sure.
They're looking to like really rebuild. I'm excited to see how that. Like I've always really wanted to see a more Karl Anthony Towns, with like a more mature Ricky Rubio in
Mhm.
whatever lineup that they can kind of muster up. They got some dogs on that team, man. Like I really like what. And plus D'Lo, I like D'Lo.
Yeah.
D'Lo, they just drafted Anthony Edwards.
D'Lo at the 2 though. D'Lo at the 2 though, off the catch and shoot.
True.
Could be
Pretty
dangerous.
deadly, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very young team, which is exciting because you have Cat, you have D'Lo, you have obviously just drafted Anthony Edwards, and like they're gonna be an interesting team to watch. But like I just said, I think the West is just so stacked that it's gonna be hard for them to kind of make an immediate impact.
Yeah.
Like give them. Give like Edwards more time to kind of develop, and maybe they do become like a more powerful team. I just don't see anything really happening this year, like as a playoff wise. But like they are going to be a fun team to watch for sure.
I'm more interested in the fun basketball that's gonna come about it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Kind of how the Suns kind of had an exciting little pop at the beginning of last season. You know what I mean? You could see where the potential is going, and it led to what made sense to the trade for Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You could see where like it could fall into place if like that point guard like that's kind of why I'm talking about the whole Ricky Rubio thing is because he was a good point guard to help facilitate that offense early on in the season. So yeah, it's all exciting thing. We're just at the start of what's going to be unfolding before the start of the season. So. Yeah. Anything? I mean, has anything else popped up you boys have seen?
Yeah, I mean, like, what do we got? 5 weeks to the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. 4 weeks from Tuesday is the start of the NBA season. So we're just over a month away. But of course, the draft was last night. Like I said, Anthony Edwards was taken first overall by the Timberwolves. Then you had James Wiseman go to the Warriors at number 2. Which I thought was good because it gives them some size at the center position. Obviously, they haven't really had a center since Zaza Pachulia.
My man's Andrew Bogie.
No, I'm just kidding. Andrew Bogut. Shouts out to
Zaza.
Bogut. No, screw Zaza.
Who got the Zaza?
And then LaMelo Ball going to the Hornets.
LaMelo.
I'm not going to go through every pick, but those are like the first 3. I think because those guys were like the 3 that were going to go 1, 2, 3. Everyone just wasn't sure what order they were going to go in. But LaMelo to the Charlotte Hornets gives Charlotte somewhat of an identity now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
They've been lacking an
sure.
identity for a while. Like even when they had Kemba, they still didn't really have an identity. But
They can just like shove minutes at him, bro.
Mhm.
Like I mean, it's the exact same formula that let Kemba Walker put up those 50. Did he need to put up like a 60-point game at one point? Like Kemba Walker went off
I think he
for
put up
Charlotte
a
a
50
couple
spot.
times.
Gee.
I think a couple times, bro. Like he put up some big numbers a couple times.
Bro, that makes me think. I don't think the Hornets have really been relevant. Like truly been. I mean, they've never really been relevant, but for them, they haven't been relevant since like Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues days, bro. You feel me? Like
Absolutely.
when they first came up as a franchise, basically, and it's like, then they turned into the Bobcats. I don't know what led to that, but that was a terrible decision, bro. That was awful decision. You know, and the fact that Michael Jordan was bless New Orleans for not wanting to be the Hornets anymore, because I mean Charlotte would have been stuck with the Bobcats, and I think that
those
that
were
was just
so
awful, bro.
those uniforms were so ugly.
Awful.
Those uniforms are so ugly for the Bobcats. Yeah, I was glad when they kind of took back the Hornets from New Orleans and brought them back to Charlotte. And yeah, like I agree with you. Like when they They really haven't had an identity since Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, and like those '90s teams.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't sure they made the playoffs like once with Kemba, but they lost in the first round.
Yeah.
Like they were like a 7 or an 8 seed.
Same thing when they were the Bobcats. They had what, Gerald Wallace and
Emeka Okafor,
Emeka Okafor. Oh my God.
Adam Morrison.
Those
shouts out Gonzaga.
Adam
Those
Morrison,
are the two,
man.
bro. Those are the two players that I associate with the Bobcats, bro. Adam Morrison and Emeka Okafor,
Emeka
bro.
Okafor.
That's all you have to say about the Charlotte Bobcats.
Less than 10 years in existence.
Yikes.
Wow, what a team.
So yeah, Charlotte is. It'll be interesting to see LaMelo.
See, the Bobcats they made the playoffs once or twice. Sorry, and they lost in both first round both times.
Wah, wah.
Um,
That's terrible.
yeah, it's not good. It's definitely not good. Oh, Del Curry too. He was on the Charlotte.
Del Curry.
Because he was in. I think that's famous from. But whatever. Anyway. Yeah, so like Lonzo gives them somewhat of identity, or it makes you, like people will tune into Hornets games to watch LaMelo.
Yeah.
Whereas like last year without Kemba, who were you gonna watch on the Hornets?
It's kind
Nicholas
of the perfect team
Batum,
for him,
Miles
man.
Bridges.
Miles Bridges,
It's not like
Dante
putting him-
Graham, who's actually pretty good last year, but still.
It's not a huge market for him. They could dump minutes on him every single night. He played his best basketball when he was like tucked away in Australia and no one really gave a crap. Like no one really cared, and like he's always been underneath that like ball limelight. But when he's like kind of like in a nice place where he has his own pocket to develop, I feel like he could really kind of come out and develop in his early years in the NBA into a desirable free agent down the line.
Definitely.
Yeah, because being in a market like Charlotte, there's not much to do in the Queen City, so you're gonna be sitting there, and all you can do
a really, really deadly.
All that
two.
you can really do in Charlotte is work on your craft,
Especially during quarantine.
Especially
bro.
during quarantine. So I think that's a good place for him. Much better than Lonzo was going to LA, because when you're put in LA, after all the things that your dad said, you're looked at through a microscope, like
Yeah.
through the finest of microscopes. People are observing your every move. Whereas if you go to Charlotte, no one's gonna pay attention as much to Charlotte Hornets games as they are Los Angeles Lakers games.
Yeah.
So like, sure, you're not expecting them to succeed right away. Like he can have a rookie year where he's like where he shows like spurts or sparks, and they can win 35 games.
Yeah.
And like people will be like, yeah, like what? That's the Hornets. Like, what do you expect? Where and like given that situation and given that time, it's going to give him a lot of time to develop, which I think will be good for him. Even though his father doesn't agree that going to Charlotte's the best for him, because he might actually have to play Jordan one-on-one now. But I think that's going to be good for him and his skill set going forward, because there's still questions about his defensive play and like that side of the ball, and if he can shoot at an efficient clip. But that's what being a rookie's for, and like being in a place like Charlotte will allow you to test out those waters and try new things and work on your craft without being under such a fine microscope like you would be on a Lakers or a Knicks or the Warriors or something like that.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, he'll definitely have the freedom to, I feel like, do what he wants, and I think that's the type of player he is. You know, he's just gonna kind of facilitate, and he's gonna have some growing pains. But like you said, it's I think it's good to have those growing pains in a small market. Build yourself up, build up your brand, and if you're dope and you got it like that, then exactly that. Either you can build upon what's going on in Charlotte if you guys are succeeding, or if not, then just like every other decent player to ever play for a Charlotte organization, take his talents elsewhere, you know? So we'll see, and it'll definitely be interesting to see if he basically gets better than Lonzo, and I think he has the potential to do that
Definitely,
for sure.
I mean, Lonzo's not doing anything spectacular, so I think the sky's the limit for LaMelo to be the best.
I feel like the development in Zion will be congruent with the development in Lonzo.
No doubt.
The ease of initiating offense through Zion will ultimately improve in Lonzo's playmaking statistically.
No doubt.
Like what? Yeah,
Oh yeah.
undoubtedly.
Oh yeah, it helps. It helps to be a point guard when you can throw it to a guy like Zion for down in the post or alley oops.
Exactly.
It's definitely gonna help. And like I agree with you there that like as one develops, the other will go with it. And like even last year, people were like watching the Pelicans not just for Zion, but Brandon Ingram
Exactly.
was
Star in the making.
star in the making, an
Right,
all-star.
right.
Did he win most improved? I think he
may
did.
have.
I think he did. And like he proved that he can be at that all-star level.
Yeah.
It was just tough for him and Lonzo to be under that light in Los Angeles. Because like it's not easy playing in big markets like LA or New York. Rookies know that. Like and like for those guys to go to New Orleans and have a chance to like kind of restart, refresh, like Brandon Ingram took that with stride and was like, I'm the guy on this team. Like
Exactly.
I'm the guy. Like Zion, sure, everyone's excited for Zion, but Zion, like at the beginning of the season, he was like, Zion's not here right now. This is my team.
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram's like, this is my
Exactly.
squad right now.
And that's the thing, bro. Like, you in their last season with the Lakers, they have LeBron James. And both having LeBron James hindered Lonzo and Brandon Ingram's growth. I think it helped them just to play alongside LeBron James, and I think that benefits them down the line in their career. I think it's good that they had a season with him, but I think it would have hindered them had they remained with him.
Yeah.
Or I think they could have developed. It could have worked, but I think it just would have slowed them down.
Yeah, I don't think LeBron right now is not in a position in his career where he wants to play alongside developing rookies or developing young stars. He's like, at this point, it's year 16 or 17. He's like, I just want to win. I want to win titles. And if I'm stuck here trying to help this 21-year-old point guard out of UCLA or this 20-year-old kid, like lanky forward from Duke, like we're not going to win championships when I have these guys in my starting lineup. Like, you know what I mean? So like for them to get out of that, I don't know if toxic is the right word, if you want to call LeBron toxic, but to get out of there. Yeah, there you go. Enigmatic. That's a good word. That's a SAT word right there. But allowing them to go to a place like Phoenix with a bunch of young guys and like, I mean, sorry, not Phoenix, New Orleans. I was thinking Pelicans.
New Orleans.
But yeah, so like allowing, so I think that going back to LaMelo, being in a smaller market is going to do better for him than it did Lonzo being in LA to start his career, for sure. And I know I said I wasn't going to go through every pick, but I want to highlight the Celtics and Bulls picks, and the Bulls were at 4. And I think this pick surprised everyone. The Bulls took Patrick Williams, small forward from Florida State University, 19 years old, just turned 19 in August, second youngest player in the draft. Did not start at Florida State. Came off the bench in every game. But when the Florida State coach, when people asked him, like, what about this guy? Why is he taking so early? He wasn't starting, but he was like, no, he finished games, was his direct quote. But from what the kid said, it seemed like he's excited to just get to work. He says, like, here's a quote from him I'm going to read real quick. He said, I've been just putting my head down and getting in the gym, focusing each and every day. Eventually, everything ended up as it's supposed to. Just focus on the hard work, make sure I'm in the gym, and make sure wherever the team takes me, I'm ready. I'm pretty much told them, the management, that I'm there to contribute. Pretty much the same mindset I had at Florida State. Coming in to contribute any way I can, whether that's starting and playing big minutes, or coming off the bench, or handing out Gatorade. I'm just there to contribute and give it my all.
I think that's
Hand out Gatorade, son.
what the Bulls need. To be honest, bro, of course, every team wants to hit the home run in the lottery and get the next LeBron James, get the next Zion Williamson, get the next whoever, whatever, Derrick Rose, But I mean, I know we have a new front office, but I mean, the Bulls in the past decade have had or not even just the past decade, the past 20, 30 years, you could say, have had a lot of success with their draftees. They've fluked on a good amount, but I think right now, man, this is a new era of Bulls basketball. We're trying to build an identity right now that we've desperately been searching for since Derrick Rose, left, since he was traded, and then Jimmy was kind of holding the fort, but the vibe was still off. Not because of him, just the organization was just weird, Like, thank you, Jimmy, for your time as a Chicago Bull, 100%, because he worked his butt off, But yeah, man, I don't know, bro. Like, I'm excited to not know exactly what to expect, but I think I trust the new front office that we have, and I think that they have the right idea of what they're trying to build right now, So at the end of the day, right now with Patrick Williams, it's going to be up to him to see how he fits in and how he grows and develops with the team, and that's where the Bulls are at right now. We've got a whole bunch of good, solid players, young players that are in a position that are continually developing and have potential to be good, if maybe not great players, but we've just haven't had the right front office. We haven't had the right coaching. It's been a cluster F, So I don't know, man. I'm interested to see what they do, and I at the end of the day, I don't think it hurts them where they are.
No, I think I was reading some articles last night, just kind of reviewing this pick and reviewing like the Bulls and the Celtics, like what they did. I think that with this pick, like I said, he's 19. He just turned 19, the second youngest. I think the Bulls have faith in their development staff and to let him grow into his potential, because
that's what Billy Donovan's known for,
right?
Is developing
exactly,
young players.
Exactly. So you have trust in Billy Donovan, and you have trust in that, and because he's the youngest on this team of still young players, it kind of makes sense for them to kind of like take it slow and like have a patient approach this season. Like study what they got, see what they got in Williams, see what they got in Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter, Zach LaVine, Kobe White, like all these guys, like before they go out and try to sign some big free agent, because you don't really know where these pieces are fitting in yet. So like Billy Donovan and the GMs are going to work together, kind of see what they got this year with Williams and all the other pieces that they have currently, and then like next year they can go out and be like, oh, we need a prolific shooting guard, or we need a big center, or we need a 3-and-D guy. Like giving this season to kind of see where your young pieces are at, and just determining where you can go in the future. I really like this pick, because it kind of gives the Bulls time. And I know everyone's gonna be like, but like teams should be working to win now. Like clearly the Bulls aren't in a position to win right now. I think everyone saw that last year. I'm sorry to break the news to you, G Money, but
hey, watch your mouth, Boston.
I'm sorry, but if you didn't realize, that team about 2 hours north just got much better.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they got much better, so that's going to be so I think taking this year, whether it's another shortened season with a shorter off season,
we can take them.
Yeah. It's just going to be some time for the Bulls to kind of see what they got, and hopefully turn this kid into a full-time starter eventually. But it seems like it's a lot of work, and like Abad Pichu said, it's like a bit of a project.
Yeah.
But he has the tools, and it's just like working with him at a young age to make him better. So
I think a successful Bulls season for this season is if they make the playoffs. I think if you make the playoffs, you're going in the right direction. Even if we get that 9th seed, I mean, that's going to hurt, That's not going to show a lot of progress. But, I mean, I think we're at that point, especially where we were last year when we were expecting to make the playoffs. Now we're retooled. Now we've got a different mindset. It's a whole new game type of thing, with the NBA. So, I don't know, man. I think this is kind of tailored for them, in a sense. There's not going to be a lot of fans, if any fans. Right now, it's just going to be it's them against the world, just as the other 29 teams are, So I'm excited to see the Bulls again. I loved having the NBA. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Like, I love having the NBA bubble. It was great, but I miss the Chicago Bulls
basketball.
Bro. It sucks.
Yeah, it's going to be great for those 8 or so teams that we didn't get to see in the bubble at all, for them to get back into action, because they've been off for over half a year at this point. When are they? Actually, 9 months at this point.
You're gonna
they stopped in March.
A lot of hungry teams, a lot of new April, May, young players just trying to establish because they got less time to grow their resume, so they got to work extra hard during the regular season to make the impression that they normally would have with their 82 game season.
82 game season. And what's tough for these draft picks and all the young guys is that usually the draft's in June, early June, and then you have July and August for their summer league, where they develop with other.
Right.
Like the summer league is huge, not
Yeah.
just for the guys who are drafted, but all the undrafted guys.
No doubt.
Who get signed to two-way contracts between that and G League. Like players come out from there too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be that's what makes me like very nervous about this offseason, because like some of these rookies, it's gonna be tough for them because they're not gonna have time to play do the summer league or have a real full training camp with the team.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a very unique situation. So like, I think to expect a lot of these people to have a huge impact right away is asking a lot for them, because they're in such a unique situation that no other rookie has been in before.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it'd be cool at the same time. You know, you're kind of just thrown into it all.
Mm-hmm.
And as a young player, I mean, that's a dream come true. You know, it's like, sure, I 100% agree, you know, and ideally it would be much better for them to be able to go through the process and be able to have that summer league and grow with their fellow, you know, rookies and maybe sophomores, whatever, you know, but it's not the case, unfortunately. So I don't know, bro. I think it's cool. I would be super excited to kind of be like, yo, I just got drafted. I'm with the squad, and in a month we on the court. You know, like that's dope. And I think that, you know, I definitely agree with Dan's concern. But I don't know, man. I think you're gonna have the full 30 teams back, and I think everybody's just gonna be super excited to like be playing in their home arenas, even if they're not gonna be fans. You know, just to have that familiarity of like a home base, you
Of
know,
United Center or the TD Garden
Yeah.
or the Staples Center or wherever it is that you call home. Just have that
Yeah.
comfortability in your home arenas.
Mhm.
Because like them in hockey, they weren't able to do like the MLB did and have no fans but play in their home stadium. They had to go to Orlando, or they had to go to Edmonton, Toronto, wherever they went, and they had to play at these same 4 or 5 courts like
Yeah.
every day with
Yeah.
no fans and a bunch of cameras around you.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting it's definitely going to be interesting, because I don't know if some teams will have fans, kind of like what the NFL's done. Like some teams have had fans,
Right.
but others haven't. But then again, like those are mostly open stadiums,
Outside, yeah.
not indoor domes.
Mhm.
So I don't know if the numbers of fans will be the same, if not
Yeah.
any. Maybe like family and friends.
Yeah,
Maybe like
yeah.
I don't know what the NBA is going to do. That's why they have 4 weeks to figure it out though. So.
I think at this point, maximum they can do would be like 25%.
I feel like that's a lot.
That is a lot. That's why I said maximum. You know, that is a lot. But you know, I don't think it's just. I think the NBA should just continue the course of.
Honestly, have y'all seen the way that the WWE have been doing it?
Nah.
Bro, they put like an iPad for they'll fill the entire arena with like iPads for like every single, like an individual placement for and it's crazy cool, but like you'll see it's like someone holding up the flash of their camera for like every single thing, you know what I mean? So having regular matches, it's just like iPads and like people's faces and stuff, and it's honestly its own little vibe, you know what I mean? Like I feel like there are ways to, you know, I feel like they did a good job with the NBA Finals. Like the presentation and the ability to get those shots.
They did great.
Like really, like the ability. That's what is so key about it. Is the ability for them to get those super, and that's what's gonna be pivotal to getting viewership back to the NBA. Is like having the ability to like have that fine detail. You know, every young prospect, every competitor out there being able to have their complete performance shown accurately and at high quality. I feel like they shouldn't force the fan attendance. I really don't think they should.
No, yeah. I agree.
In any capacity,
Yeah.
like especially with the trends, like we're gonna go on full lockdown again. You know, we're all gonna go on full lockdown again.
Eventually,
It's not gonna go away. It's gonna be another year of what we did last year. Only we are a year more educated on the subject. I won't go into it too much, but
Absolutely. Hopefully a vaccine's coming soon. Apparently, I won't get into that because I don't know crap about that stuff. But apparently, some companies have been working to get vaccines, and they're getting more and more effective as they come out with more and more vials. So hopefully, a vaccine is coming sooner rather than later, because the numbers continue to spike in the U.S. and people
something to be
continue to
hopeful
not
for.
wear masks.
Amen.
It's not that hard.
Hey, I'm gonna be the one to say it, bro.
I mean, I'm being.
Hold up.
I'm not
Hold
being
up.
the best.
Hold up.
I'm gonna be the one to say it, bro.
Say it.
Why Okay, first of all, before I say it, I'm happy that we're in the progress of getting to the point of
Vaccine.
getting a vaccine, right?
Mhm.
Sorry, I got lost in the trance of the beat for a second. Yes. Sorry. I'm sorry. I lost my point. What were we talking about?
Just get a vaccine. We're talking
Vaccine,
about
right.
and
Yeah, yeah.
masks.
So I'm happy about that. But why is it right after the election, right after the hype of the election, that all of a sudden it comes out?
I don't know.
Hey,
That's something
well,
that's it's too speculative. You know what I mean? Like,
but
even
I
if-
just I've been looking very close, and I agree. Like, I know it's like type of thing, but at the same time, man, I've been looking so closely at this year and how everything has been transpiring, you know, and we're gonna look back in the history books and be like, damn, like this was all happening right before our eyes, you know. So it's like, I don't know, you know, maybe I'm just like
No,
looking
you
at
got
it
a
too
point,
deep or
G-Money.
whatever.
But the thing is, G-Money, is people don't need to be putting their attention towards that right now. Do you know what they do need to be putting their attention towards, G-Money? They need to be putting their attention towards the new mixtape, boy. And I feel like now would be a good opportunity to go on a little breaky break, put on a little music by G-Money.
Let's do it.
Let that marinate in y'all ears a little bit.
Mixed.
We'll be back in about 10, 12 minutes or so. About this much time.
All right, one last thing I wanted to say about the Celtics lottery pick, Aaron Naismith. I was very confused when I was playing video games last night and I saw them pick Naismith and I was like, who the heck is this guy? I don't even know who this guy is. But watching his highlight tape, the dude is a bucket. He only played 15 games last year with Vanderbilt because he had a foot injury, which kind of scares me. But he shot threes at a 50% clip. And what the Celtics need is bench scoring. So if this guy can come in and catch and shoot threes like lights out, like kind of how Tyler Hero did for the Heat, I love it. I love the pick. That's all I want to have to say about that.
Yeah.
I love that pick. If he has the ability to catch and shoot and just shoot 3-pointers and come off the bench and score because the Celtics don't have that, that's fine with me. It was more, he doesn't have like tremendous upside like Patrick Williams does or like some of the earlier guys, but he fits a need that we need. And like for a team that like the Celtics who are just in the Eastern Conference Finals, you don't really need a project. You need someone to answer your need right now.
No doubt.
A guy like Aaron Naismith is going to be huge, I think, for just bench scoring in general.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, you
sorry.
need
That was one last
you
thing I
good,
wanted
No,
to
you
get.
needed
good,
that.
G.
You definitely need that because the Celtics, man, that the Heat definitely showed. Even just in the playoffs in general, bro. Like it was obvious that their bench they had nothing, you know, basically nothing. So they'll take whatever they can, and youth is always good, man. you
And
know?
then 26, they took Peyton Pritchard out of Oregon, who's like some guy compared him to Fred VanVleet, just like the way he like can shoot a deep ball and play defense, and he's just like one of those gritty guys who like is like as you know every stereotypical white basketball player like gym rat, clock in, clock out, hard hat, blue collar, you know, like all those things. Every word I saw, every article I read about Peyton Pritchard described him as that. And if he's like that for the Celtics fans will love him.
That's what you need. That's the
That's what-
Celtic. That's your.
That's the motto. That's
yeah,
like
that's
the
how your organization.
and
is.
yeah, and but right before we go to break, that reminds me, just quick, rest in peace to Tommy Heinsohn.
True.
This happened, I think, last week, which was a heartbreaking for all Celtics fans. Tommy is the definition of Boston Celtics basketball. He was a player with those Russell teams. Then he coached them to 2 titles before joining as the color guy for 30 plus years, starting in the 80s with those Bird titles. He's been around for I think 15 of the 17 at Celtics titles, whether it as a player, coach, or announcer. He's been there for almost it all.
Yeah.
And it was just sad to see him go, and like as in this year's full of sadness and like bad things. It was one of those things where watching basketball games, watching Celtics game isn't going to be the same without Tommy.
Definitely not.
It's just not going to be the same.
Bro, I'm not even. I mean, I like the Celtics, and I do enjoy the organization. I could say I am not a huge fan of the Celtics, but I'm definitely a fan of the Celtics. I understand that loss, bro, and that sucks, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, but he was. I mean, he was a great man, and he dedicated his life to Celtics basketball, and appreciate him for that, and just thank him for all he did for us. And that's all I just wanted to say a quick RIP and thank you to Tommy for for making kids like me and even young and kids around my generation, younger or older, help them fall in love with basketball. I even texted my dad, and my dad was like, running Tommy, what do they call him? What was the nickname? My dad. Let me see what the nickname. When I texted my dad about the news, he sent me the nicknames that him and his friends used to call him. Gunner, as he was once called a long time ago. He's up in the rafters in the garden, as my dad said.
That's dope.
So, so R.I.P. to Tommy Hines, and sorry to end that on a summer note. But
no, you're good.
On a better note, when we come back from break after hearing some of the mixed, we'll talk to G Money G Note about his new tape that he just dropped less than 24 hours ago.
Indeed.
So stay tuned,
folks.
Yeah, stay tuned on Northside Plugged on Q4 Radio.
Yeah, run that. I don't know if you picked one. Run up that blood, if you can. That's not blood, but it's all good. Donuts by G Money G Note.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm rolling. I tell him it's up. Lean in my cup, got me waved. Double Dutch puffing at the wheel, got me lazy. Tryna stay awake when my vision kinda hazy. Come pull me over, cause I did a 180. Skirt, do a donut. Work, girl, you go nuts. Perk, that's the syrup. Twerk, baby, show up. Skirt, do a donut. Work, girl, you go nuts. Perk, that's the syrup. Twerk, baby, show up. It's a Fifi wherever I go. I'ma always see ya. Yeah, I'm always on go. Yeah, I'm always in mode, especially on the road. While I'm high, also I'm so high I can float. That's on bro now. Lot of bottles stolen. We was laughing, joking, lot of rolling, lot of souls broken, masking with the smoking. That's how I be coping, cause we grew up feeling hopeless. Turned into addiction, lot of people missing. Couple with the prison, we got lost in self-infliction. Wise with my decisions, cause I learned from past decisions. Access to the drugs, I'm just glad I came out different. Didn't need no Xannies, every now and then I'm sipping. Never knew my limits, so I'm always in it. Sticking to the cause that liquor can be city. PTSD from the drugs I ain't put in me. But that ecstasy had me feeling like a fiend. Love the feeling of the beam. Magic, I can feel the team. Make me wanna the scene. Make me wanna do my thing. Make me wanna get the money. Make me wanna be the king. And now I can prove this shit is real. If only you knew what it's like over here. Despair and jealousy, yeah, the way of all is good. I'm praying on the day we finally make it out of the hood. If only you knew. All I hear is whoa.
Is that just money?
I feel like I'm tweaking, hooking and I'm reeking. Ogun got the chief and every day feel like the weekend. I be feeling speechless, love how that's my weakness. Trust them for a reason, G, I ain't deserve that treatment. Lot of y'all on leashes, moving like some leeches. Shit ain't sweet, no peaches, how they love me cause I'm seamless. You can feel I mean this, speak from where I'm bleeding. I can't be defeated cause I'm working and I'm feasting. Shots up, GTS, only way to beat the stress. Life's a game of endless chess, keep it moving and progress. Every day I take the test, study hard and make the best. Get my all and come correct, lot of times I'm incorrect. Shit. But I'm man enough to admit it. Lot of motherfuckers out you got their words twisted. On the style treatment, don't know how to get it. It's a game of respect, and y'all tryna read it. It's corrupted, lost in the dysfunction. All our heads be bumping, we connected in conjunction. Homicides in hundreds, coronavirus busting. Mass soul carry on, corporations love it. All of this disgusting, lost in the discussions. White folks ain't discussing, rather throw their bread in bunches. I've been out here hustling, blocked out interruptions. 2020 is different, feels like everything erupted. We gon' overcome. I can't breathe. This is for the young. I just wanna feel free, don't need a breather. Change about the meaning.
This is Soft Voice Radio. Q4 Northside Plug.
You're flying on Southwest Airlines.
We are 35,000 feet above. Cruising at a nice altitude of 37,000 feet.
If you look to your left, you'll see yourself
They'll be coming out down the aisle with beverages and snacks for you. Make sure you tell your stewardess what you like. It's gonna be smooth 60 degrees and sunny when we land in beautiful Chicago, Illinois.
But until then, make sure that you fasten your seatbelts because we might experience a little bit of turbulence.
Yes, so please fasten those seatbelts and enjoy the ride. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoa!
Oh, turbulence. Oh, and that was it for the Smooth Jazz Hour. The Smooth Jazz Minute here on Northside Plugged.
Smooth Jazz Power
Welcome
Hour.
back. Thank you all for tuning in as always. We appreciate you for tuning in to our show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Like, subscribe, tag us in your posts. We'll say what up. And again, if you want to call and say what up to us or say hi, of course, 312-985-7834. 312-985-7834. Feel free to leave a comment in the YouTube video and we can answer it there. But as we said before the break, after all that basketball talk, we're going to get into a new project released by our friend G-Money G-Note.
Yo.
The project's called Mix. It's 12 tracks, about 35, 40 minutes long about. Yeah, with a lot of great tracks. I listened to it multiple times today to kind of get a feel before we came in here. A lot of different topics, a lot of different songs kind of with like the topics you hit on, but still around like a central theme. Now I like the title Mixed because it kind of plays off a couple of things, but can you explain why you called it Mixed? In your opinion, why, before I kind of explain why I think it's called Mixed. I want to hear where Mixed kind of, basically where you thought of.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, Mix is out on all streaming platforms.
All of them. Go stream it right now.
Personally,
go download it.
Personally, I mean, it feels like a huge accomplishment to be at this point, to be able to put something together and put out to the people, so I'm very blessed and very thankful to be able to have been able to go through the process, and the music's finally out, and it feels like another kind of weight off the shoulders type of thing. So it's super dope. But yeah, man, I mean, this year I've just been working on a lot of different things, working with different people. Just been working hard, just staying low key. And throughout this year, and especially through this quarantine and everything, been having like different ideas of what I've been trying to do and put out and whatnot, and been working on a different couple projects. But just trying to figure out how I want to come out and really put myself out there, So Mixed itself actually kind of happened, came into fruition. I was kind of cooling, and then one day it was like boom, the word, because I've had every song that that's on Mixed, excluding Flow of the Dragon, is pretty much like a little bit older, like I've had those tracks for a minute, to be honest. Like the oldest song, like Fantasy, for example. Fantasy, I love Fantasy. Fantasy is probably one of my favorite tracks on the project, but Fantasy is huge for me personally because it was one of the first. It was like basically one of the first times I was able to like rap on one of my own beats. Like it was the first time I went into the studio and personally on some solo stuff, like was able to rap on my own beats. So I was like, when I made that, I was like, okay, this brings a whole different element, So that's kind of where Mix, I feel like, began, and then just for the past 2 years, I've just, through a span of different circumstances and situations, has been working hard, on a lot of different music. So Mixed overall, bro, sorry to go on a tangent, but Mixed.
Oh, it's your time, man. Say what you gotta say.
Mixed, I mean, there's like Dan said, there are different kind of like themes behind it, but I mean the main most upfront of of mixed, the meaning behind it is that I am personally mixed,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
being Mexican and Irish. And then overall, bro, everything outside of that, you know, I kind of want to leave it up to people to interpret, you know. But what I will say is that at the end of the day, this is just like the theme of the project is like kind of a rough, gritty take on my journey, you know, and then especially my journey as an artist and everything that I have to say. And it's like when I made each individual track, they were never under the assumption that like, yo, this is gonna be on this specific project, you know. Some of them may have been on different projects, some of them may have been singles, like, you know, I don't know, like
George Floyd protest you released when that was going down.
Yeah,
in
when
the
the
middle of
protests were going on. Yeah, you know, and that I knew I had to be on whatever project I put out this year. I knew that George Floyd protest
Absolutely.
had to be on there, you know. And then outside of that, everything else was kind of, let's see what goes on, and then just continuously kind of ciphering through my music. Slowly but surely, the idea just kind of came into fruition, and I was like, okay, this track kind of sounds good. This track kind of sounds good with each other, yada yada yada. And then, yeah, bro. Once I finished Flow of the Dragon, I was like, yo, this is what I feel like is the piece that I needed to be able to encapsulate whatever project is gonna come.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
Because I felt like I wanted to do a sequel like that. To people that don't know, Flow of the Dragon is the sequel to my first like solo track, Way of the Dragon. So like I wanted, once that was made, I was super geeked and super excited because shout out Justino Cochino with the beat, who hit me up. He was like, yo, I think this is the Way of the Dragon part 2. It just came into fruition, and it was dope, man. And yeah, man, it's mixed is overall just it's mixed, you know. There's a lot going on, and I leave it up to the listener, the consumer to enjoy it and just intake it how you interpret it, you know. So like I said, I'm excited, and I hope everybody that takes a chance to listen to it absolutely enjoys it.
Yeah, so Justino produced Flow the Dragon.
Yes.
I heard your tag on a couple, but you didn't produce all of them, did you?
I produced 75% of the
Okay,
track.
so like 9 of them.
Yeah.
And then I saw you also tag like who else? Like Bodie.
Bodie mixed
Bodie.
Retrograde.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right. Shouts out
He
Bodie.
engineered it. Yeah. Shout out
And
Bodie.
of course Doc, right?
Shout out Doc. Doc was the executive engineer. He engineered majority of the project. Shout out my boy Dunk for sure. Dunk was a huge like part of the process as well, you know. Just like I through this quarantine I haven't been able to see him a lot, but we still, you know, stay in contact. We still are linked up, but I mean, especially when I was first coming up producing, bro, like Dunk and I were really like just cooling, bro, and we really bouncing off each other because he was a little ahead of me in terms of the process of producing. He also cooks up in FL Studio. And mind you, Dunk, I mean, right now he's like 19, bro. Like he's young.
Wow,
Yeah, you feel me? Like
okay.
this is a young cat, bro, from Rogers Park, you know. And yeah, bro, Dunk goes crazy, and I shout out to Dunk, bro. That is stink, Dunk. Cause you know, like he's classic, bro. Like that man has it, and like once he gets back to it, bro, trust me, bro, the city's gonna know who Dunk is, bro. Cause it's cool. It was just an honor to work with him and see a young cat like that have drive and want to like cook up like that. It made me want to go hard, you know. And like I said, we bounced off, and then he cooked Start Out, and he cooked Donuts, and man, those beats are fire, bro.
The Donuts beat, I really like the Donuts.
Thank
beat.
you.
The Donuts beat is cool.
Thank you.
I really like that one. Trying to think of what some of my other songs. I mean, Is She Real with Ivy? I thought it's one of those songs that's like you could feel the song being like the I want to say like the most mainstream, if that makes sense, because like you have a beautiful sounding voice on the hook, and like the way it kind of just flows. It sounded like if there was like a leading single or like a song like do a music video to, it feel like it would be Is She Real?
Definitely.
Like the way it kind of sound. I don't know.
Definitely.
But I'm definitely gonna listen to it more and like kind of dive deeper into it. But how is I mean, it's only been like 24 36 hours, but how do you feel the reception has been for Mix so far?
It's been love, bro. You know, I'm gonna be straight up, bro. Like, I'm an up and coming artist. I'm coming from the underground. You know, I mean, we all know this. You know, it's whatever. But it's like, I'm at the stage right now where I'm really just trying to build up a foundation, build up a what's it called, fan base. You know, and right now it's just pushing it out to my peoples. You know, it's to the circle, and I'm blessed to be able to come from a city like Chicago and know a lot of different people, and, you know some other people from outside of the city, you know. So that's just kind of where I'm starting to formulate and push things out right now. And from the people that, you know, have checked it out so far and have reached out or liked or shared or posted something of the project, like, I just appreciate it, you know. And I've learned, especially during drops, like, not to set my expectations very low, because when you set your expectations too high, you set yourself up for disappointment, you know. And at the end of the day, like, I think that comes with growth as an artist. You just have to enjoy the fact that this is what you created and this is the time to put it out, you know. And for so long I've been wanting to put out a project of this quality, you know, because I'll be honest, you know, like, I don't want to, like, toot my own horn, but I feel like this is one of the better projects that's come out in 2020 musically. And I'm gonna let it, like, I'm not gonna be the one to dictate that, to determine that, you know. I'm gonna allow it to grow and let people digest it. But that's just the confidence that I have of the music that it is, you know, because overall the quality of it and the content within it, and just, I don't know, the perspective and the experience behind it and the collaborative effort of everybody that was involved, may it be like a minimal amount of whatever, or, you know, a lot of help, whatever, like, it all equals and sums up to here and now and what the project is, you know. And even being able to come here on the show and talk about it, which I feel very blessed to be able to do so, you know. And I just want to, again, shout out everybody, but I want to shout out my man Justino especially, because musically, like, that's the man that's been here since day one, you know. It's like, we and obviously Boss Dan's been here day one. We all been in the process, but just musically and being in that dorm room and coming from a stage where we were sitting in that dorm room just talking about doing everything that we're doing right now, you know, it's a cool and trippy perspective to have, you know. And it's a cool feeling to have hindsight and look back on and be like, yo, like, we've been working hard, all of us, we've all been working hard, and, you know, we're at this point, you know. And that's just kind of what Mixed is, you know. It's a culmination of a lot of hard work and a lot of effort, you know. And Mixed is just, there's a lot to it, you know. So
yeah, for people who haven't listened to Mixed yet, or can, like, compare it, and, like, how would you compare it to Dreamland? Because Dreamland came out
like March,
yeah,
right,
like
before this all
before
popped
everything
off.
happened, right? Yeah. So, like, how would you, for, like, the people who haven't listened to Mixed yet, how would you compare it to, like, Dreamland, or, like, because it's like sonically they are different. You can definitely hear it in, like, the way, I don't know exactly how to describe it. You can just tell they're kind of different.
Yeah. Well, Dreamland was kind of like a improv project, you know, like half, if not more, of the beats, like, I had made those beats like the night before I ended up going to the studio the next day, and then was like, okay, I knocked out a couple other tracks, like, now I'm just gonna freestyle onto this beat, you know. So that was kind of the trend of that project, and it just ended up being a whole bunch of songs that I freestyled, that I had in the vault, and I was like, yo, like, I want to put out a project, you know. So with Mixed, like, the process is kind of similar in the aspect that, like, Mixed kind of just happened, you know. Like, there's more, it flows better in the sense of, like, what I'm speaking on, but it still was kind of just, like, thrown together, just more thought behind it, you know. But overall, Mixed, bro, like, I mean, I'm further in the process of where I was when I made Mixed, you know. And I think just after this pandemic and everything that's been going on, I think I'm a lot smarter than where I was. That I've
Absolutely.
grown, and I feel like I'm a lot better as an artist now. But I mean, I wrote the whole project, which is that's the main difference. Like I wrote the whole project. I wrote all of Mixed, except for Is She Real. I freestyled Is She Real, but I freestyled all of Dreamland. So that my bad.
Because you usually like don't you're usually one to like just freestyle most of the time you go into the studio, right? I feel like I feel like sometimes
sort of.
yeah, kind of sort of. I feel like a lot of the times you either have, if you have something down that you really want to say, you'll have it, but then a lot of time you might just like freestyle and just like would be like, oh, that works, and like keep that, or like, oh, that works, and keep that. Do you find it harder when you kind of freestyle off the top versus like when you have something written down?
Oh, no doubt.
Like,
It's hard.
yeah.
It's hard, especially when you're trying to like put a concept behind something, because it's like when you're writing, because that at the end of the day that goes back like to the difference between writing and freestyle, and that's like the backbone of the history of hip hop, of rap itself,
absolutely.
is like the differentiation of the freestyle off the dome, and then writtens, whether it be a written freestyle or just like structured song. And when you're freestyling, I mean, that freestyling is so hard, bro. Like, I can make it seem easy. I can go out here, I can spit a freestyle right now, but I tell you, learning how to freestyle is one of the hardest things that I've ever like taken the time to do, bro.
Absolutely.
Like that, it's so challenging, and it's so. When you're first starting, you're just like, oh, this is so, like, why am I doing this? Like, like, you can't get crap off of your head,
Yeah.
It's tough.
You can get, like, stuck in a rut, and it's kind of hard.
So even when you get to a point where you're confident with your freestyles, you still have those moments where it's like, it's hit or miss, You're either, like, you're in the stew and you're vibing and you're killing it, or you're just, like, it's just off,
Right.
So it's good to be able to have writtens or have songs in your back pocket, like so when I'm like, okay, I want to go in the studio and freestyle this beat, I try to do it, oh, it's not working, I'm not feeling it, okay, I can utilize my time in knowing that I still have another track that I got the vibe set, I got the lyrics set, I know what I got to do, and that was just kind of the approach of Mixed overall. Was the project may have not had a concept, but each individual song had a preconceived thought process behind it, and that's why I'm just very confident.
And that's what makes it mixed.
Yeah,
That's another way to make
True.
it mixed. It might not be it might not be an overarching like one singular theme, but like each one is very it's methodical, and like the way you went about making each song is very like closely paid attention in detail.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's not like a To Pimp a Butterfly where like the overarching theme is like you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
but
no
like
doubt.
each song has its own importance and own value in what you're trying to push out there as a message in general.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%, man.
Justice, any questions for our man G Money on the project?
Questions?
Or thoughts on it? Anything?
Not off the top of my head, G-Money.
No. What else was I had another question. That was before I interrupted you. Shoot, I can't think of the question. Is there anything else you have to here's my question. So you already have a music video for Blood. Yes, that was with Sammy Whammy. Shouts
Yes,
out
sir.
Sammy
Shout out
Whammy.
Sammy Whammy.
Is there any other plans for any other music videos?
I'm keeping that
Oh,
low key.
that's fair. I knew he was going to say that. I knew I shouldn't have asked that question. I knew he was going to say that. I don't know why I bothered.
So if you read between the lines, you can find your answer.
That's that's homework for us. Homework, everyone. Read between the lines. Figure out which song G Money is going to make a song of, because I don't know which one it is right now. I'll have to actually pay attention more. I'll have to write down the lyrics or something so I can figure it out and crack his code so I can text him and be like, ha! I got you. Figured it out.
But yeah, no, I'm just at a point right now where I'm excited that the project's out, and again, I feel blessed and appreciate you, taking the time to have the interest and asking a couple questions about the project, because this is very important to me, man, and I feel like this is a great step in the right direction, and I just am happy to share with the people, man. I think the streets are starving for some like real music, and not in the sense of like other people's is not real, but I just feel like the concept and everything that's behind this project is like anybody can listen to it, you know, like old people, young people, especially our generation. I mean, it's a little like in terms of percussion, it's a little harder, you know, maybe for some folk, but overall, like the content and the message behind it is true, and I'm just gonna, you know, keep pushing it until I can't push no more. Cause it's the ish.
It is the ish. Do you want us to play another song or
yes.
two?
Yeah. Well, we could play the last two. We'll play.
Are we gonna fade out with that?
It's up to y'all. Whatever you want to do.
I
However
got
y'all
nothing else I
feeling.
want to like hit on.
I think I asked enough questions for you.
I feel like it'd be a good way to
Make sure you all go stream, listen to Mixed on whatever on Spotify, Apple Music if you're a smart person like me, or is it on SoundCloud?
It's not on. It will be on. SoundCloud.
It will be on
Maybe.
SoundCloud. Maybe
It's gonna be on YouTube.
but it's on YouTube. It's going to be on
everything
YouTube. But most of you have Spotify or Apple Music at this point, so go stream it there, and help my boy G Money, Gnote, get some more numbers on that thing, please.
The numbers is cool, but I need the cheddar cheese.
Yeah, the cheddar cheese would be nicer because that comes with the numbers, even though the streaming don't give you actually like not as much. Unfortunately,
It's all love either way, man.
Yeah, it's all love either way. Just please
It's all
play.
the music.
So here's start out.
Try to hide it, but it's hard to contain. Remember days when my teachers would complain. I give thanks, cause I can never have it any other way. I give thanks, remember days rolling Reggie in the Swift, yeah. Ay, but the days are long over. Closer to them days riding limos with the chauffeurs. Lifestyle of a stoner, damn near never sober. Teachers coming low for didn't know I'd be an owner. A high roller burning like an oyster. Corporate world, see a monster, I can never get a chance. I'll throw the whole world a concert in my honor just to show you. I'ma show you missed out on the man. On the moon like a cutty, always thinking about some money. Move funny, not too many. I put yours in bougie time. Need a bag up, put it in my barrel, baby. Can I love you? Yeah. I've been broken for too long. Had to cut the world, I put my lifeline in this song. Me and Don been cooking, got the beats to put you on. If it ain't about your money, then you better get your some. All of that break, dead. Wake up and get you some bread. Flip it and whip up some eggs. Breakfast in bed with a 10-4. Hit it, she shaking her legs. Papa, she feeling herself. Nah. Once to go tell all her friends, tell her she think I'm the one. Nah, wait, nothing like your love, but I cannot trust. I think my heart's bust. I think I'm up. I need to do something. I'ma go run up a milli. Use it to sign the next Drizzy. Use it to sign the next Nicki. G-Dog about to get busy. I'ma be gone, hope you miss me. You did me filthy. Blinded the hate, my eyes milky. Smooth with the game, I be silky. I really think I'm the illest. I'm at the top of the wheel list. I know my haters won't feel this. I know my haters won't feel this. I'm at the top of the wheel list. I know my haters won't feel this. I'm at the top of the wheel list. Ayy, you been sleeping. I've been grinding. No more dreaming. Stars are shining. There's money piling, freestyling, gon' get me rich. I start out high as hell, on some I start out. I try to hide it, but it's hard to contain. Remember days when my teachers would complain. I give thanks, cause I can never have it any other way. I give thanks, remember days rolling Reggie in the Swift. Start out. Baby, you so bad, you got me hypnotized. As soon as we linked eyes, I felt baby, Father time is broken. You my potion, same time, you my poison. Hang time, bliss keep floating, great wine bottles open. See you creeping me from afar. Approach you on some cool shit, man, but I said we could reach the stars. I felt your skepticism shaking till I reassured the part. I felt your skepticism breaking soon as I reached in your arm, baby. This don't even feel real, you don't have to say a word, cause baby, I know how you feel. You my energizing bunny, yeah, you my electric eel. Girl, your vibe is so essential, you're the orange, I'm the eel. Tastes so great, now the flavor gone away. The raisins you so great, even when the sun hit your face. You my space, time continuum, continuum. You my space, time continuum. We gon' soar through. We gon' make these moves. We about to break through. Shawty, I think I'm in love with you. Baby, you so bad, you got me